And we are live. I have not slept in this morning. We are here for episode 189 of the DayZ Podcast. Sadly, no Archie this week. He was ready yesterday, but because I slept in, he's at school today. So we've got his Irish brother, Mr. Marks. How you doing, buddy?
Yes, doing well. How are you?
Not too bad, mate. Not too bad. Helkiana, back again, buddy. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good. I'm back in the country now.
As I said to you earlier, mate, you're looking damn fine this morning.
Yeah, can you see the tan? You know?
Oh, mate, I love it when you Europeans go somewhere and get a tan because it just looks so odd. It borderline looks like it's a fake tan because you can tell that you guys just aren't used to being well tanned in that. Here in Australia, most of the girls end up looking like a mahogany brownie red. It's just too much melanin for their poor little pale skins. Where did you go, Helkiana?
Portugal. My friend had her wedding there down south, and I stayed a couple extra days to just kind of relax, see some stuff. I went on a pirate ship.
A pirate ship?
Yeah, it was really cool. They have a lot of cave tours on the sea, well, at the ocean. And then this one is literally just like a wooden pirate ship, and they do have an engine. You could hear it when they start. They don't use the sails and all that. But it was still cool experience to just be in there. And then they put us on this dinghy and took
some
us
of those touristy gimmicks are awesome though, aren't they? Yeah, it's just something that you kind of overlook it. It's not all about my immersion so much. It's just a fun thing to do. I'm glad you enjoyed it, mate. It's nice to have a break, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. It was really nice out there. I need to go back, do a proper full week of just tourist stuff because I didn't have a lot of time to do everything and relax.
Yeah, well, Marks and I feel the same about the Czech Republic. He left straight away at the end of it. Yeah. I stayed for a few more days, but sadly, money makes the world go round. But you really need to have a good couple of weeks somewhere to really get to explore it and not just see the touristy stuff, but find all those little hidden treasures and so on. Portugal. I might have to look at that area of Europe because isn't that where Cobra and Foxy Pod are at the moment? Portugal, Spain sort of area?
I'm not sure where they are.
Yeah, they're in Spain. I think it's fairly close, isn't it?
They're right next to each other, aren't they?
Yeah,
Portugal and Spain, off memory.
Yeah,
you should fucking know. That's your neck of the woods, Mark. They're all brothers and sisters of the European Union.
I know, yeah. I'm the other side of them, though. In the cold part of it, unfortunately.
So I have to ask, Marks. DayZ, Bohemia, they pay thousands of dollars to fly your ass all the way over to the Czech Republic, and one of the first videos you drop is zombies are broken.
Yeah. I mean,
how did you feel typing that one up, considering the nice thing they just did for us all?
Well, even if they, the event wasn't just after happening, I always feel nervous adding a title like that to a video. But I think in my video, I explained everything well. And I did even say at the end, I was like, I'm not hating. I'm just giving feedback. They are broken, or whatever they've done to them has kind of broken them. This is feedback. There's no hate, hoping that they can find a solution. And
I've got respect for you for doing that title, mate. Because a lot of people accuse content creators of being shills, don't they, Helkiana? But I've got so much respect for someone who can call something as it is. If it's broken, you need to call it, don't you, Helkiana?
Yeah, definitely. You gotta call it out. Obviously, making a video, it's always a bit hard. What if it's just you? What if you're the only one feeling like this? But no, definitely the zombies have been feeling weird.
Our Discord's just been popping about it. The amount of people, and to find out, well, they're not actually broken. It was intended. Mark, you shared that screen grab.
Yeah, I had first obviously played the update, and I was like, these Zeds. I've always complained about the Zeds, but I was like, these Zeds, there's something here not right. And then I saw the clips on Reddit of them phasing through doors, and I saw that people have been like, what's with the Zeds in this update? Then I asked on Twitter, and people were like, yes. So I was like, okay, if I wanted to make a video now, at least I know it's not just me having this issue. And yeah, they're definitely broken, and it was intentional, like I said, which I kind of found surprising, really, because they had done I think it was 123, they had adjusted suppressors, so if you missed a Z, like a bullet hit a wall, it wouldn't aggro anymore. And then they come out 2 days later, or 2 updates later, and buff their hearing. And what it seems is buff health as well, because their health is a little bit buffed as well. Don't know if it's true or not, but it seems.
Well, this is something we've talked about in the past, Helkiana, where as a criticism I've had, where they seem to, when they make a change, it's not a subtle or gradual change. Sometimes it's, the Tropic Thunder never go full, you know what, and it sometimes seems like they just do. From your perspective as a game dev and a modder, what's your feedback on it, Helkiana?
I think like this was a bit of a stealth change because like nobody was complaining in experimental, which makes me believe that they pushed this directly to stable.
Yep.
This is not the only change that did that. There was another complaint we had about, the whole thing where if you have like a first aid kit and you have a bandage inside and you put it in your inventory, now you can't put it in your hotbar anymore.
Yeah.
So initially the way they did it was just not moddable to change it, because for example, in my mod, I have specific items that are just for that specific purpose. And then they were like in the ticket, oh yeah, we changed it and it's going to be in the stable release, but not in the experimental. Like, I feel like, we have the experimental, put the stuff in there,
Yeah, that's why a lot of people, they're like, didn't you not notice this in experimental? And we're like, the Zeds weren't like this in experimental at all. It was only like, and it wouldn't have been too bad if they had like told us in the patch notes, like made changes to zombies or whatever. But I checked the patch notes yesterday before making the video, and there was no mention of any changes there at all for that.
Yeah,
so.
there was nothing in the patch notes. There was something that they fixed, something about the sound.
I think so. I can have a look at them again. Hang on.
And I think someone pointed that to me because like we were, so I have like the PvE server, and our zombies are kind of crazy hard, so you gotta play stealthy most of the time, otherwise you'll just get ganged up and you'll
Which
die.
isn't a bad thing per se to have that, but they went too much.
It's a bit too much. So,
and to do it stealth, to do it stealth, like you said, because for those who don't know what Helkiana meant by that, it's when they release a patch and everyone's testing it, and then in experimental, they're all testing it and giving their feedback, and then when it goes to full release in the the live version, and it's not what we were all testing, it's kind of like it leaves you wondering why. If it was just a new gun or something like that they've snuck in, fair enough, that's always nice to find. But when it's a pretty core function of the game, it's a bit surprising, isn't it, Marks?
Yeah, like when it's this big, like it's extremely game changing. Like it's kind of in a way, I don't mean to sound too dramatic, but it's kind of in a way made the game somewhat unplayable. Because like you're going through rags constantly, or even bandages constantly. Your clothes are constantly getting ruined. I've had multiple knives ruin on me in the past like 2-3 days of playing. I haven't even found many like suppressors for guns, and I've been playing the official servers, and I haven't like even come across suppressors. Seems kind of difficult. I don't know if they've changed it or just my luck's been bad. It's like you're constantly just fighting Zeds, and like I mentioned in my video, I was tracking down a player at Bash, at the barracks at Bash. I'd heard him shoot. I was on the airfield, so I went over there, tracked him down. He had 5 Zeds on him, so he ran into one of the double door barracks, and across from him was one of those long barracks. So I jumped on the roof of the long barrack to be able to get a shot through the window. Got on that, went prone, was prone moving towards him. Zeds aggroed on me, so now Zeds are on me. He knows there's a player outside looking at him. There was nothing I could do. It was either shoot him, I'd aggro even more Zeds. If I push him, say knock him out, it's going to Zeds are going to come after me, so I'm kind of dead either way. And so I wasn't able to win that gunfight. I just had to leave and go.
Okay, so
it's
Jacob's
difficult.
saying in chat there, and for those who don't know, Jacob is a dev. He's saying there was no stealth change, Helkiana. The change became available 2nd of May 2024. So how did it not get noticed in experimental? Was it the age-old problem, Helkiana, of no one playing experimental?
I mean, it's possible. I didn't play it myself, but I think there's been other streamers that have been playing, and I'm sure they will have noticed.
Yeah, we didn't notice anything on experimental, or at least it wasn't as bad.
Jacob, are you sure there wasn't any other changes that was like a consequence? Because sometimes when you make changes as a dev, it's like you don't think that it's going to affect something specific, and then it's just going to happen anyway. And
Well, regardless of whether it was out or not, it genuinely seems like it hasn't been that well received. Like even the PvE people like you, Helkiana, Derleth, are talking about that this is just a bit extreme. It's and even just to do such a massive change, you would think that these would be things that you would do gradually, like even potentially on the the main version, just gradual increases rather than big massive sways from one extreme to the other, which we've seen time and time again with weapons is a big one, isn't it, Marks?
Yeah, it is. Like the Z change wouldn't have been too bad. Like I'm all for a challenge with Zeds, but when you've kind of have your like all your stealth options taken away, like you can't crouch walk because they'll aggro, so stealth killing becomes pretty much impossible. It's obviously doable, but it's a lot more difficult. And then like the melee itself is just like sometimes you'll hit a Z and it just won't
sometimes,
register.
I've noticed that, especially like the running heavy attack.
Yeah,
I've noticed that very consistently not actually hitting the Zeds, and it's pretty difficult.
so like it wouldn't be too bad if they balanced it. Like if they made combating the Zeds easier, then it wouldn't be as difficult. But that also has a big impact in it. And I've seen some people like it, and I've seen majority not like it. And even some of the big creators, like the Running Mans and stuff, was on Twitter about it.
Now, is it a case of, like Skullspeed has just said there, I found the infected aggroed easier but ignored you pretty quickly if you were quiet and prone inside a house. A big criticism of DayZ, Helkiana, has been, it's a zombie game where the zombies are no threat. And it is kind of ironic to me that when they make the zombies or the infected a threat, everyone's up in arms about it.
I mean, it's the difference between making them a threat and just making them impossible. Because an example is like you're in a house and there's zombies outside and you just rotate and they go, and that's like their sound. They heard something and then they will start searching. And that is just too much. Like just rotating in a house is not enough. Like you just can't be stealthy. Trying to crouch, that you will always get the zombies on you. Like Mark said, if you get into a PvP fight, it's a big chance of you aggroing the zombies, trouble. Even if you're like crouching and having like sneakers on. Because like I've only been wearing sneakers and flip-flops in the last update, and they still hear you very loudly. Like it's a bit too much, because like what are you gonna do when you're gonna wear the army boots? Like that's even worse. So there's no more option of wearing different type of shoes anymore.
Well, something that needs to be pointed out, Marks, is what Thomas has said here in chat, and I've seen this in the Discord as well. It's not just the infected, but there's a number of other core basic functions that got broken somehow as well. And again, it makes you wonder how this slipped through experimental. Was it because, I'd love to see how many people were actually in and testing and what sort of feedback was being given. But for it to go live with fuel pumps not working, stone collection not working, what was that? Was that
fires,
about the dynamic spawns, or was that about? Okay,
Wouldn't
So
mind 'em.
not a major issue because you pretty much only use them for flagpoles and fireplaces, which is criminal in itself. But yeah,
And then the
that's
fireplaces in some houses, I don't know if it was all of them, wasn't working either, so you couldn't light a fire unless you were outside.
so Thomas is saying that the pumps worked in experimental,
In Livonia,
and then they
yeah.
stopped working in stable.
I haven't tried them
Uh,
on Cherno. I haven't actually played Livonia since it became free, but
I've tried the pumps in Chernarus because I run that map and they work fine.
they do work. That's okay.
But I think because someone was mentioning that, and then they on Twitter about the pumps, and then they posted the patch notes, and it's under known issues.
Right. Okay. Yeah, they are aware of it.
so-
I did know that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just look if they.
That's a pretty big thing to be broken though, especially on Livonia, which is generally a wetter map. That players need to be able to get in and start a fire to dry out and prevent themselves from getting the flu, cholera. That's sorry, not cholera, but the flu.
I don't know
because-
if it was all houses or if it was just a certain few, but I have seen reports that they weren't working. But if it is all houses, like indoor fires are just not working, that is pretty. Yeah, it's gonna be pretty.
I think
bit of
some
a struggle.
do work, at least on Chernarus, because I've been using them in this patch. But I don't know about Livonia specific houses. Maybe those are broken.
Yeah, I'm not.
Yeah,
100%
maybe
sure.
some of those models custom to Livonia, the wrecked buildings and that.
Not all, just some. They're saying okay, so it's not. At least some of them work, which is good. Yeah, it's interesting, but like they're aware of it, and now obviously they're aware of the feedback they put out on Twitter earlier on today that they're aware, or they're reviewing the changes they done to infected. So hopefully they'll, review them, tweak them, and put out. I don't know if they can do it in a hot fix or whatever, but yeah, and same with they'll probably put out a hot fix or something when they have everything else done as well, and just put it all out and hopefully dumb the Zeds down a bit or whatever. I don't know how they'll change it, but we'll have to wait and see.
Look, at the end of the day, Codfather, there's always there's some damn good mods out there, isn't there, Helkiana, which can give you those. I've seen infected that can climb onto cars, and a mod where they throw stones at you or something if you're on a car.
And they can break doors.
Yep.
Yeah. I need to try that mod where they can climb on cars. I think that one is really, really cool. I haven't tried it yet. Didn't have the time. But the doors in the rock one, they're like, it always gets you. Like you're like so many times I'm in a house and I'm like, haha, you're all outside, you can't get me now. And then they just throw a rock through a window and I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah.
It's really good, and I feel like a lot of these things should just be vanilla, really. Like that's the kind of making zombies harder in DayZ should be, not that they hear you more. Like being able to break down doors and climb over stuff better, searching for you better. These things is what makes them a bit more dangerous, because at the moment you go on vanilla and I'll aggro a couple of them, and if I'm smart enough and I know the movement a bit, I just pull them in a garage, close the door after me, and there they are, done. It's and there's another bug that they introduced, which is a bit more specific to modding only, which is affecting the trader mods. So I've had a complaint because, as you know, I'm maintaining the Dr. Jones trader. So when people buy a barrel from the trader and then they buy other stuff with the barrel in their hands, like even another barrel, it goes inside the barrel, and then they can't drop the barrel from their hands anymore. Even though it's not allowed. Like technically you can't put anything in the barrel while it's closed.
No.
While in your hands. So DayZ doesn't really respect that rule when it spawns stuff in. This has been a bug for like forever. We've always had issues. I've been trying to find solutions for trader for that, but it hasn't been as much of an issue because you kind of you just drop the item and then you take them out and stuff. But now at the moment people can't drop them out of their hands, and it's become a major issue. I made a ticket.
Yeah, it's interesting.
That's got to be problematic to try to fix. But yeah, if you're in a safe zone, it's not so bad. But if you were in a non-safe zone trader, that could be very, very awkward. Very, very awkward having to log off and log on again to try to fix it. Does that
Well,
actually
you
fix
can't.
it?
No, it doesn't fix it. Apparently, some people have said that you
wow.
can place it down, like with the click and place down. But if you are in a safe zone, you're not allowed to place anything down. So you got to get out of the safe zone. And
Be very vulnerable, and anyone who knows that that's a problem, they'd be looking at you going, "Yeah, I'm just gonna follow along behind you, buddy," and blat blat
yeah,
blat.
it's
Definitely.
it's a really bad one. Like obviously this is only an issue for mods like Trader or
Yeah,
like admin tools when you spawn stuff on yourself or other players. But it should be something that they add to, like, for example, I have some special items in my mod, like the paramedic bag. It can only hold medical items. I do some checks when trying to transfer stuff in. But when using admin tools or Trader, if you have that bag in your inventory, it will put anything in there. It does not respect the rule. It just ignores it completely. And it's really annoying because people are like, oh, why do I have ammo in this thing? you know? And they think it's my fault, but like, it's just the way they do.
It's just the games.
spawning. Yeah.
good old spaghetti code. But back to the infected. It's like it. As much as a lot of people say, it's an infected game where the infected, pardon me, aren't a threat. But I highlighted Wi-Fi's comment there. For me, Zeds are just alarms, and that's one of the things I've always loved about them is that on the servers where they don't even have them, I know there's plenty of PvP servers that pretty much have next to none, if not none at all. They're really good for that side of it, and this is potentially something where you're going to have to be a lot more careful when you're moving through cities and military areas because the smarter players out there, they'll sit back and they'll watch to see what the infected are doing. It became a bit harder, didn't it, Helkiana, when they added the running infected, but they do make a good alarm to let you know what's happening in the area. There's a lot you can discern from the infected behavior.
Yeah, so before they made the running ones, it was a bit too easy to tell
Yes.
if the zombies just got spawned. That means, because like as you know, there's zombies are static spawns; those are always there at any time of the server. They're just there. But then when a player enters that area, they are the dynamics zombies, and they get spawned in like very kind of specific places. And you can tell if there's anyone around you, basically, with that. But then when they added the running ones, it was just a bit, oh, is that one aggroed onto someone, or it's just like a running zombie?
Yeah.
I think I added a lot of more charm to the game. Like
It did.
it's
It's heart in your throat moments all the time, isn't it, Mark? You're walking along, and the next thing you see is infected sprinting, and you're like, "Fuck, did that aggro on me? Or is that a sprinting one? Or just constant little flutters of the heart and clenches
sometimes
of the sphincter valve."
It still gets me to this day. Like I could be running along, and it's not even think like, oh, is there somebody here? I'll actually like for a split second, if you look at the Z the wrong way, it'll look like a person running. It'll scare the shit out of you for a second because you're like, what the hell? But no, they were always good to have. But like it's not the idea of them being broken. My title was definitely a little bit clickbaity, but that's just the game. But they're just
YouTube.
Yeah, exactly. But what's the way to like the way they are now is just too overpowered. Like if they added features that made the Zeds more smart, like you were saying, like doors or I don't know, anything else to make them a bit more smarter, not just charge and hit, be better. But unless that's maybe something they just can't do with the current AI engine or something, I don't know how it works, but maybe they're waiting for the new one if it ever comes.
I don't know. It probably wasn't one of the greatest stable releases for them, though, this time around, was it, Helkiana?
Yeah, it looks like a lot of these things haven't been noticed right away as they released it. It seems like only like when people got into the game more in the weekend, they've realized more of the issues. Luckily, they didn't break any mods of my mods when I was away.
No, we'll watch it. We'll watch your space and see how it pans out. And look, at the end of the day, you know, they're still trying things. Whether they need to is a question for another day. But yeah, I personally don't mind the infected being more of a threat, but I'm into the cock and ball torture of DayZ. I can understand why it's frustrating for a lot of people, but yeah. At the end of the day, I don't think it's the biggest break that we've ever had. You know, there's been ones in the past having the Helkiana where the stable releases have just been an absolute nightmare, borderline unplayable. I know people are saying this is borderline unplayable, but I think that's a bit melodramatic. It's just, what I was sort of hinting at before. It's almost like it's a bit of a play style change. You've got to be a bit more cautious now, don't you, Helkiana?
Yeah, I mean, you just gotta change your playstyle a little bit. I think cautious is not gonna help. To be honest, they will still aggro on you. You just gotta like try and get one at a time and take care of them.
And when you're a run and gun sort of player, Marks, that's a bit hard for some people to rein themselves in, isn't it?
Exactly. That's, I think, game's not unplayable, but for like a playstyle where you are kind of run and gun, it does kind of make it that way. It depends on your playstyle, right? But they'll fix it. And look, they said on Twitter that they're reviewing it, and so if they're doing that, they'll more than likely make some changes. And at least they're doing that. So that's the main thing, right? We can deal with it for the couple of days or whatever, however long it takes them to make a few changes. And that's all that matters. At least they're actually, responding to it. They could just ignore it and do nothing until 126 comes out, but at least they're good for that.
Now,
I hope they're gonna do an update before 126 for all the bugs.
I'd assume they'll do a hotfix, but they said 125 is the last update until Frostline comes out. So we'll wait and see.
There was one ticket, I can't remember what it was, and they were like, "Yeah, we'll fix this in 126."
Yeah, they'll probably more. Yeah, but I think we're waiting 4 months unless they do a hotfix, a couple of hotfixes in between. But I don't think there'll be any major updates until Frostline. That's what it said in the article, anyway. So
watch your space, folks. Watch your space.
Yeah.
Now, events in DayZ. This is something I wanted to discuss last week as well, but we seem to be going through another good phase of it at the moment, with a lot of people trying to organise events in that. I see Ariana's got a big event coming up with a lot of invites being sent out. Did you get one, Marks?
No.
Did you apply for it though?
No. I'm not a really event person. So.
What about yourself, Elkiana? What are your thoughts on doing events in DayZ?
I mean, for a while there were a bit too many events. It kind of lost the charm. It felt like back then, I think it was last year or something like that, there were so many events. It was just kind of like a bit overly saturated. But I've noticed that now people are just kind of like having them a bit more in between. I don't know if Ariana's Frontline Z, because that was like the name was very close to Frostline as well. That was interesting.
Probably a deliberate choice, but can't blame her.
I don't think it was a deliberate choice, because she announced it way before you guys got invited and all that. So I don't think she knew about the name. It's just a happy coincidence. Yeah. I don't know if like the devs are supporting it in any way, like how they did with the Lights Out event.
They retweeted Ariana's
what I wanted to talk about on this. That they retweeted it, but I've been chasing up Sir Serpiente to come and do a spotlight with me, because for the most part, other than the odd retweet and the share in the old community spotlight, that's the only event I can recall since the early days of DayZ standalone that they've ever really supported.
Yeah, I believe so.
But what other
confuses
ways
me.
though could they support him? I mean, that's what
Prizes?
most people would want. They have given some, I think, before, haven't they? I feel like they have maybe given game
Maybe some
keys away or
codes
something. I
but
think they
you know,
have, but I could be wrong now. Could be wrong.
but yeah, I would love to know how Serpiente got the ability to have those flags added to the game for the winners of it. And when you do something like that, it'd be great if it was something that they've done some great events that weren't actually events, where they've done the art contests and things like that, where things have been added to the game. The books recently was a great one, but I would just love to see some more organised events of different sorts. They don't all just need to be run and gun sort of ones, because that's the beauty of DayZ. It's such a complex game in some aspects. It's one of the things I like with Ariana's Queens of the Castles and Kings of the Castles event, in that you were witnessing some of those teams that didn't take the time to prepare themselves, struggling with food. I remember one of the teams having to stop and literally fish because they were about to die. Which adds just a whole different ball game to you see a lot of games where it's where they have events and that, and it's just they don't have to worry about that. It's only about getting armor, getting guns, getting ammo, and shooting each other. DayZ, you've got all these extra mechanics in that. So I don't know. Just I would love to see more support, but also some higher caliber events as well, Helkiana.
Yeah, it would be nice for them to get more involved with the community. I don't expect them to do too much this year because of Frostline. There's going to be a lot of work around that. Maybe towards the end of the year, some people were saying that maybe Lights Out will be held again, and
on the new map, maybe, or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, making some sort of event for the new map would be a great idea for marketing, I would say.
That's true, actually.
I mean, I do agree with what Thomas has said in chat here. They should not make DayZ into League, Valorant, Overwatch, or PUBG. That's not what I'm saying. Far from it. But get out your bingo cards, folks. But Survivor games back in the day was groundbreaking, and just it showcased just what an amazing game DayZ was for the capacity to do interesting and long form events that weren't just a quick 20, 30-minute match, if that. And yeah, like Codfather saying, a lot of the content is showing the PvP and it's very entertaining, but it's heavily edited, and the survival elements are made out to be an inconvenience. It's a survival game, not COD. And that's one of the things I loved about some of Ariana's events, was that it was showcasing the need to, DayZ is a bit more of a thinking man's game, which is why a lot of people struggle with it. It's not just log in and go around and just shoot everyone. You've on almost every server, bar some of the 1,000 times loots, Helkiana, you've got to prepare your character before you can get to that final stage.
Yeah, definitely. I have seen some events where you just get full water, full food, and you don't have to worry about that stuff, and it's just about the PvP. And some of those can be fun in their own way, by showcasing like the full
They
survival.
do be so sweaty.
But, yeah. To be honest, this is one thing I struggle with. I can't really come up with good ideas for events, even for my server. It's something very difficult to kind of like flesh out properly.
Marks?
Yeah, it's I've done a few events in the past and I've always sucked at them, so I've never really done any more. It's a difficult one, isn't it? Like, it's events are tricky.
There's so many options in that, like someone's just said, run, drive, retry that Spaggy does. Nice, easy, simple server. I did the Manhunt event just the other day. I don't know whether any of you guys watched any of the footage from it, but there's a lot of simple, easy to do events that don't take a lot of planning. Like I did a spotlight with my mate Charlie over the weekend, and we talked about, and it's something that I really would love to do again, because at the time it was amazing, but so difficult to organize. But I've got some videos somewhere. I'll try to find the link to them. But the DayZ Ashes, and for any POMs in the chat would know that between Australia and England, we have an old cricket series. It goes every year, or every 3 years. I can't remember. I haven't watched cricket in a while. It bores me nowadays. But it's called the Ashes. And we battle for a little urn of burnt stumps from a cricket game. And we just retitled the Ashes with a Z, A-S-H-E-Z. And it was, I think, about 20 POMs versus 20 Aussies. And it was just an old-fashioned pure PvP event. We picked a location, but this was back in the very early days of DayZ. So we had to loot everything. Pretty much all we could do was wipe the server. We couldn't spawn stuff in. There was none of those tools. So, yeah, but it was absolutely amazing. And I would love to see something like that come back, whether it be, just different versus other countries, something like that. But don't be limited by what you can and can't do. It's a lot easier nowadays with the ability to spawn stuff in and create custom locations, so you can have something unique as the finishing point for everyone. But there's a lot of different options out there, and some really cool admin tools as well, which can help you run it, isn't there, Helkiana?
Oh yeah, definitely. And I think like even some deathmatch servers were really cool. I've been playing sometimes, kind of like a warm up. And I think even some events with that, would be cool to have some deathmatch. Get the highest amount of kills, like the coolest kill or something, I think they could go into that, but I don't know like how much they want to deal with modders.
I would just love to see something that really does encompass as much of what makes DayZ unique as possible. That need to be a survivor, and sourcing food from the land or something like that, and looting up, and not just a run and gun, because any game can do run and gun. And DayZ does it
I just see
okay.
it very difficult because like usually the survival, can take
And it's
a
boring.
very long time and it's boring. Yeah, if you just do the small stuff. So it's something
you need
that
like
might
a
have to
balance
run.
for it, don't you?
Yeah, you need to play for like a couple days to.
I remember, was it JLK done an event and it was hosted like over 3 days or something? And was it where people able to they were like to loot up on the first day, they could do something else on the next day, and then the final day everybody could battle it out?
That was Lights Out, wasn't it?
Yeah,
It might have been that one, but
Lights
there
Out.
was.
Yeah.
I think this was even before Lights Out. It was a couple of years ago now, but they were like fun to watch and stuff. But I think they could even build bases, if I'm not mistaken.
And my mate Charlie did the spotlight with him yesterday. On Sunday. I was just talking about the Ashes, Charlie, and how hard it was to organise, and how the part of the problem we have again as well is the pings. Ariana does an event, and I look at him and go, I'd love to put my hand up one day and just have a bit of a fun run, but I know it's going to be on an EU server, so my ping's going to be terrible for it. And DayZ is a game that, unless you're playing it all the time, like I know my mate, the dude Thor, got really good at playing with high ping, but it's difficult to play DayZ with a bad ping, even just things like doors opening, Helkiana.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think I joined an Australian server. They were using the ping spoofer, and I didn't realize. And I joined it, and I was like, "What is happening?" Like I pressed F to like open a door,
and you're waiting.
Yeah.
You're waiting.
And I was like, "This is just wrong. My ping is all right. Is it my internet?" I was doubting if my internet was working correctly, and it was
those
just,
ping spoofers are a crime against gaming, Helkiana. I hate them with a passion. It is one of my pet peeves. It is lying to a person about what they're going to get. I do not like it at all.
Yeah, I think like I've played on American servers, like East Coast are all right from UK. Like day one servers, I get about 120 ping, and those have been all
Yeah,
right. But
they're
like
fairly alright. Yeah.
over
But
150 ping is just unplayable, I
it's
think.
shooting yourself in the foot a bit as well, because if someone joins and they think they've got a double-digit ping, and then they're having issues like that, you're going to get a bad experience. Like you were probably on that server going, "This is shit. What's wrong here? Have they got too many mods? Is this not a deady?" Or and then you're going to talk to people about it if you don't know about ping spoofers, and you're going to be saying it's a shit server. Like everything was just broken.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not sure what, like I said before, I'm not sure what they're trying to achieve with this because people will realize it anyway,
Yeah.
eventually.
Well, the same as the when they fake the player numbers, people get on and
Yep.
it's a 65 or 70 server, and you don't hear a thing. Now, for the first time, you might go, "Oh, it's just an unlucky run." The second run, you're going, "Nah, there's something going on here." The third run, "Nah, I'm not coming back here again. This is a bullshit server." But yeah, I don't know, but yeah, look, events, get them out there, people, and hopefully I can get Serpiente on, find out how he went about linking up and that, because that's just something I would love to see more of, is linking with. Sorry, what's that? Can we get a cheer in the chat that DayZ SA fixed the player? What, really? Do you know about that, Helkiana?
No, I did see there was an update to the CSA, which kind of freaked out my Steam, but I don't know if I haven't heard of this.
Bazino, if you've got any more info, mate, share it with us, because that's actually pretty good to hear, because that is, like I said, it's just one of my pet peeves. It's frustrating that they do that because it's not just false advertising, it's a scummy thing to do. But yeah, anyway, yeah, keep coming up with events, and if you're in a community, a good community server, if you've got ideas, a lot of the admins will be open to it if you've got an idea for one, because like I said, they're quite easy to do, and you can back up your server and wipe it and do a custom event for a couple of hours, and even you could look at like there's a server I play on that some of you may have heard of. What's it called again, Marks?
DayZ Down Under.
Yes, that's the one. But they had the Hype Train mod, and on the Saturday nights, they haven't done it in a while, but on a Saturday night for 2 hours while the server was live, the admins would all get on the train and just drive it around the map, and you could go and actually fight them. They had a chopper flying in support as well, and if you killed them, you got stuff. So there's things you can do that aren't really an event that everyone has to be there at 8 o'clock to be ready to start the event. You can do events within the lifestyle of a server. You just got to be careful. You don't want to make them too OP and they get dominated by a certain clan or faction or whatever. But there's a lot of different options out there to mix it up and try to keep. If only there was a calendar for all these amazing DayZ events. I know, right, Rody? So someone should do something like that. Anyway, anyone know of anyone who could do that? Rody? Yeah? No? No, I love it.
DayZ Down Under need to make a server for the EU people. Call it DayZ Up and Over.
DayZ Up and Over. That's funny.
No.
That's funny. There are reasons why that can't happen, but I won't go into that. But yeah, maybe one day we shall see. But yeah, Helkiana, anything you would like to spotlight? How did you? I don't know if we even sold any of the last game that you highlighted, but yeah.
Well, a game that just came out like a couple of days ago is called Soul Mask, and I've seen a couple of people playing it. It's a bit.
What's it called again?
Soul Mask.
Soul Mask.
Yeah. I can post the links in the chat. So it's a little bit more like tribal looking kind of
Conan
survival
Exile
game.
set in the Central Americas, Thomas is saying in chat. Would you agree with that?
And I think so. But like it's still like, tribal kind of environment and like with the NPCs. I think it's very similar to Conan. But I think I'm gonna try it today or tomorrow maybe to see what is it really about. It has like the sandbox kind of base building, which is always cool and
Worth a try. You never know. It could be the next big thing. Is it
I
free
just
or
shared it in YouTube.
it's currently £22,
not too bad.
10% off. So it's not like that expensive.
No, it's not that expensive. Hey, give it a go. It could be if you're into that sort of thing. Definitely worth a look at.
I have to make a confession. I've been playing Rust.
Oh, wow.
I saw, yeah.
And I got to
How-
say, like, I am not playing PvP. I'm not interested in sweaty little chads. I'm more wanting to see the mechanics of it. And I've got to say, Helkiana, have you ever played it?
Yeah,
Zeta.
I played. Well, I haven't played in a couple of years, I think now. So I don't know what, because they've been adding a lot of stuff over the years. But I played some PvP and PvE on Rust.
The thing I like about it is the POIs, or what they call monuments in the game. And it's something that, Mark, you've heard me say this many a time on the show, but it's one of the things that DayZ lacks is really the only POIs are things like police stations, hospitals, and military bases. But when it comes to resource gathering and things like that, they do it really well. Like there's mini games involved, or they call them puzzles, I think, in the game where to get something working, you need to have, maybe fuses, and you need to go and turn this switch and then that switch, and then you can get it started. And the other thing I like about it, Helkiana, is almost every single item. Like, to be fair, I don't think I've found a single thing that doesn't have another use. You can either recycle it down to break it down to raw materials, or some of the recipes for crafting involve that item in its pure form, such as sheet metal, which you use for the for some of the devices. Road signs, you can use them to make armor for your characters and that. And I've got to say that mechanic is really good when you compare that to DayZ's boring crafting system.
I've always thought that something like, not like Rust style craftable armor, but say in DayZ you had a plate carrier, and you know the way in real life you have plate carriers, you can take the plates out and you can do all that stuff with them. It'd be cool if like you had a plate carrier, and I don't know, it might be a bit of a stretch, but you could swap the plates out. So say if your plate and your plate carrier ruined, take another one out, craft one out of some sheet metal or something to do as a temporary one or something like that. I don't know. Could be kind of interesting to see something like that, maybe.
I like what Codfather said here, Helgiana. DayZ has the best player-to-player interactions, but nearly every other game I play has better core mechanics. The player-to-player interactions in open world of DayZ always suck me back in, though, and I've got to agree. Like, the Rust map to me just feels so much smaller, and it's very busy, too busy. There's so much going on, even on a PvE server. There's just constant events happening, whether it be attack choppers in the sky or airdrops coming in. Someone starts up a monument or something like that. It doesn't feel empty like DayZ does. And that ability to lose yourself in the environment of DayZ, no other game has done that for me, Helkiana.
Yeah, I think the games are, while they're both survival, they're very different genres in survival.
Oh, yeah.
So
it's like
Rust
pineapple's
is
a
more
fruit
on
and
the
so's an apple,
crafting.
but they're very different.
Yeah. Rust is more about sandbox and crafting, like with the bases and all that. Whereas DayZ, I'm not really sure what to call it. um, I do feel like DayZ could benefit from more crafting, but it's a lot harder to like balance it in the way they want to keep DayZ kind of basic and stuff.
Yeah, I
I
don't know
mean,
if they want people focusing on crafting and building. Maybe they want people to focus more on adventure and
looting,
interactions.
yeah,
Maybe that's why it's not as good.
yeah. They want people to loot more, I guess, and
Hmm.
move around.
Which is interesting in itself, because there is a very big, like, you don't see it with a lot of content creators. There aren't many content creators bar the more YouTuber ones. I know Fubar Bundy has been doing bases, but it's extremely difficult as a streamer to do bases with
Oh, yeah.
DayZ, because you don't have any
They'll just
defense
raid you.
systems. Sorry?
They'll raid you immediately.
Yeah. Yep.
Happened to me before.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's one of the reasons why I stopped doing gameplay, because I love doing bases. But yeah, and honestly, even if they're not malicious in intent, what, you expect them just not to raid you because they've seen your stream? Yeah.
It's not even streams, like it's videos. You like
Yeah.
you nearly can't put your base in a video anymore, especially if like you're putting out, I don't know, like a weekly video or something and you're still on that server. I know most people on DayZ, they'll record for a week straight and then after that they don't care. But
Yeah.
like if you're doing like this part series or whatever, like you can't really show your base off either, because it will get raided if people find out the server.
And Derlip's got a good point there, Helkiana. They did back themselves into a corner with the X plus Y equals Z method, didn't they?
Oh yeah, definitely. I've been hating on this system for a while. I've tried making my own kind of crafting menu. You press a button and you have a list, and then
Ooh.
you can make, like, you can add multiple items. But I've never finished it. Because I've always felt like it was lacking with the way you can only use nails and planks and you make a box,
Yeah.
whereas you would normally have nails, planks, and a hammer, so it's just a bit more.
Yeah, even that. You should combine them together to make the pre-stage, and then you've got to get a hammer out to finish the last bit of it. Whereas DayZ, you don't even need to have a hammer on you to be able to make a crate.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
With the system, I don't think there's going to be a possible way to like make it. They would have to think of a brand new system, which
It'd probably break the fucking entire mod industry as well, wouldn't it?
yeah, they could still keep the old system in just to kind of not break anything, but then like change, like, or add
Is
new
that why
stuff.
like they don't update stuff? Like maybe the crafting system, that they're just afraid, or not maybe afraid, but they're just like, say the devs went in, completely reworked the crafting system, put a whole new system in, and it obviously breaks. It would break a lot of mods. It probably wouldn't break them all, but is that maybe one of the reasons they don't do it? They just couldn't be, they just don't want to have everything break.
I don't think so. I think it's just not a priority. Maybe they've been thinking about this for a while, but then it's just kind of like put on the back burner for other things. Like that is saying, like a workbench crafting would be something they could do, and they can still keep the other system in. You combine stuff, then you have the workbench in your base to do other stuff.
It's probably not high on their list. Like the base building's probably higher on their list than crafting, if I had to guess.
Yeah, if they would add more items that you would craft for your base, maybe they could then also bring a new system for crafting as well.
Yeah,
but I would love to just have more ways, kind of like how Rust does with recycling. That's one thing I have in my server. Like you can go to the car doors and you use pliers and you can get a couple sheet metals and some scrap which scrap can be used for a lot of the crafts in my menu. Just kind of as a generic item that can be used in multiple crafts.
Yeah, it's an interesting way to. I don't know. There's so many ways of doing it as well. Like, you know, you come up with a million ideas, and
Yeah,
it's like with everything really in this game.
This is one of the things I like, what Derlis just said, workbench crafting maybe, where, you know, you can attach the items to it and then that opens up the recipe for you because you've got the relevant items such as a screwdriver. And, you know, I said that on the friendly podcast with the boys, that the screwdriver is one of the most underrated items, you know, especially after what you told me, Helkiana, about the percentages for disarming landmines. And that the pristine screwdriver's got the best chance of doing it, doesn't it?
I can't remember, but
I think it was off
I think
the
it was something like that. Yeah. Yeah, I used the screwdriver in my mod to dismantle the storages into boxes because I was like, it needs some kind of use because it's really not used for anything.
So
you know what's a good way? You know what's a good way of disarming mines? A gun. You shoot them. 100% rate. It always works.
Yeah, but that's loud, and that gives you away. See, this is why you're struggling with infected, mate, because you're a loud run and gun player. Us more cautious PvP plebs, we try to be as quiet and sneaky snake as possible, so we don't get detected by anyone.
Yeah, I'm too scared. I've always had bad experience with the landmine, so like I'm always scared to go up to it and disarm because it'll more than likely blow up anyway. So I may as well just shoot it.
Yeah, I would be the same, to be honest. I've seen a couple of mines and I'm like, you know what, I'm just not gonna go in that building. I'm just not gonna I'm just gonna leave it alone rather than trying to disarm it.
Yeah.
I can't help myself. I have to disarm them and throw them away. They're just they're still a pet peeve of mine because of how easy they are to use. You know, you don't even need to slightly bury them, and they just seem to blend in too well at times if they're placed well. But yeah.
Do you think they should limit it to like not being put in buildings or something? Or
yeah,
is it
I think they should be a spawn item because of the fact that I think heli crashes would be the best because then they're not even inside places like tier 4, the gas zones and that someone has to physically make the choice to actually pick it up and take it with them and then use it later, rather than this current setup where you go to Tizzy or somewhere like that, and you'll find half a dozen of them between ones that are planted and ones that are just sitting on bunks waiting for you to pick up. And all people do is pick them up, go to the entrance to the barracks they're in, and place them. They don't even hang around to see them used. They're the worst troll item in the game. Worse than bear traps. Bear traps just ruin your boots but do very little damage. But a landmine, if you're not in good health and all the rest of it, that's the end of your game. You got to restart again, all because some person found it and just went, I'll just set this up here. I can't be fucked. I'm holding on to it. You don't even need inventory space. Just hold it in your hands.
Speaking of landmines and heli crashes and stuff like that, would it be, I'd literally just come up with this on the spot. It might be a stupid idea, but would it be interesting if, the way the convoys are in now and they're like super overpowered with the loot you can get? Like you could go to a convoy, went to a convoy one time, found 2 DMRs on one convoy. Would it be interesting if you went to a convoy, but they were booby trapped and you had to be kind of careful? Like maybe they put the tripwires around and maybe even the landmines like they're placed, and say if you found them, you could dismantle them and keep them. But if you step on it,
like, it's something I've got to give Battle Squatch credit for with his map. I can't remember what the name of it is, but apparently he's got a... Sorry, what is it?
Anastara.
He's got a dynamic landmine event or something that happens.
Yeah, there's some areas with the landmines.
Which is brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I'm surprised no one's done it before.
Yeah, it's kind of good. I think that'd be interesting.
That would be brilliant.
Like make them more high risk, because now you run up to a convoy, you can run around it, you kill the 5 Zeds that are at it, you run around, grab the DMRs, and you go. Whereas, like if you had landmines or tripwires hidden, like it could make it a bit interesting. But maybe it's a silly idea. I don't know.
On my server, I have Antonaris and Oil Rig, and the biggest struggle with zombies is that you can't really spawn them in the ocean, in the water. because they would just spawn at the bottom. There's some ways of doing it to kind of put them back up, but like it's never been like 100% accurate and keeping the threat there, because usually is like you need some Zeds in PvE servers to make the threat. And I was thinking of doing something similar to maybe have some predefined areas where I'll put the tripwires in the buildings at that oil rig, and people will have to disarm them. But a lot of my players, they were like, no, we don't like the idea, we're just gonna die to them. And I was like, oh, but it's kind of cool, like you need to be a bit careful where you
it would be cool. And like maybe even if they did say put landmines and tripwires at like heli crashes or convoys, they could play into the Yellow King storyline a bit more, and maybe he placed them or something like that. They could do it a few different ways if they really wants to.
Yeah.
Well, we are getting to the end of the show now. I've got one last thing I'm going to announce before we do individual spotlights. We are starting an 87.8 Survivor FM community server. Stud Muffin has been helping me. Durlef's been giving me advice. Connor's been helping. But primarily we're doing it because we've got the server that we got through Lid Hosting. And I figured one of the best ways for you all to get to see how good their services are is to put up a community server. It's going to be a bit of a cock and ball torture one. If it wasn't, it wouldn't be an 87.8 server. But it's only on a shared host. So we've been extolling the virtues of their services for some time now. And that, if you're looking to get into hosting a server, you can go all in and get yourself a decent Dedi server. But for a lot of people, that's quite daunting. I've got one and I don't know how to fucking do a single thing with it here in Australia. I have to beg and borrow and steal and suck dick to get people to help me with it.
Sorry, just quick, you might need to change that link because it just brings you to the login page of that website.
Okay.
Just so you know.
I'll let Mr. Drower know that.
So what's the server going to be? What features can we expect? Or are you keeping that kind of hush-hush at the moment?
Keeping it kind of hush-hush, but it's going to be a lot of survival-focused stuff. More of a grind one, and some ideas I've got that I'm going to be reaching out to a few people to see if they can help me. It's similar to what I was talking about before. I want it to be a more immersive experience where there's some great mods out there. Dumpgra's ammo making one, for example. And just more of a you're going to want to have a little shelter to base yourself from and stuff like that. So more of a immersive experience for those who are wanting to do it. It's up and live now, but it's a bit of a soft launch just to get feedback and see how it performs with the mods that we've got on there. And I've still got to go in and do the CLE table and things like that, but Connor's going to help me with that as well, just to get it started and adjust it before we go for a full proper launch. But yeah, I'm excited.
I'm happy for you. Will you let me know what their services are like? Because I'm actually thinking of doing some server type thing myself. But
mate, I'll put you in contact with Drower.
You already did.
He's a good bloke. He really is, for a Frenchie. I can't resist. I can't resist helping out having to dig at the poor old French buggers. But he's just a good guy. Now we're going to do our individual spotlights. Mine is going to be Connor, custom DayZ services. I had someone reach out to me, a fellow Aussie. Let me find it. Sergeant Pepper reached out to me asking if I knew anyone who could help him with a loading screen for his menu. And I went, yep, I know, just the guy. Put him in contact with Connor. And from 4 minutes past 3 to when did he send the stuff back? 39 minutes later, he sent him all of the stuff he needed. And
that's quick.
He's damn reliable. He's cheap. He's good. He's passionate about DayZ. The service is called 87.8 Survivor FM Community Server, Vizino. I'll share that in the Discord with everyone, the podcast Discord, discord.gg/878 Survivor FM. But yeah, he's not always that quick, Connor, but he doesn't rip you off. He's fast, he's reliable, he's passionate about what he does. He's been so good at helping me behind the scenes with the podcast, new artwork designs and stuff like that. Just if you need something done, reach out, ask him. He's got a Discord, custom DayZ services. He could do simple reskins of items for you if you don't know how to do that. And just he's a bit of a master of all and jack of all. Doesn't seem to pop up on DayZ SA. Okay, I'll check and see if it's running. It might be broken at the moment. I might have done something when I was playing with it, but yeah.
There's nothing better than the person who offers the services and they're quick, cheap, and reliable. You know, that way, like you can.
Well, not always. Cheap isn't always a factor. But
being quick and reliable is always great. There's nothing worse than having to wait around weeks for something.
God.
To come in.
You just made me think of something. I have to discuss this. This is completely off point on DayZ, but I'm certain you're going to have some feedback on this, Helkiana. I'm subscribed to Moist Critical on YouTube. I'm pretty sure you both know who he is.
Yeah.
He did a video, the Pokimane editor situation.
I saw the clip of that.
Helkiana, you saw it?
Yeah, I've seen the clip of Pokimane explaining him.
My God. There was one comment on that video. I don't even, because you two know what it is. If you don't know what it was, folks, I don't know whether you're going to want to watch the video, but there was a comment on Charlie's video, Marks. You could not waterboard that information out of me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I don't know.
As a male,
was thinking about
as a male though, Helkiana, he was doing that for a week. Did it not get
probably
sore?
Doing it more. Like
I don't think it was.
He was saying like
straight.
he was constantly. She was saying he's constantly late, and then at some point she was like, "Hey."
But she kept paying him as well for like ages and stuff before she actually after like she found out apparently and everything. So,
but how messed up is that guy to think that was Oak? What did he think, that she was going to declare her undying love for him or something? Yeah, because he's been batting off to her. Dude,
yeah, I think people who are like that, they do definitely have this fantasy in their head that if they're gonna share that, she's gonna suddenly, be, oh my God, you're so dedicated, make me your wife.
It's just wrong. It's like there needs to be someone you could report. That's the sort of guy who's going to end up on a America's Most Wanted video or something. It was, I felt kind of sick as a male listening to it. It was just like, dude, that's just that's not dirty. That's demented, bro. Come on.
As a minimum, don't share
it. And she's your employer. She's your employer, bro. Come on. Oh, guys, fucking get a. No, I almost said get a grip. Don't get a grip. Fuck me.
Buddy, I have an admission to it. To say, I've been watching your videos constantly. I can't stop. Oh God, put them away. Jesus.
Oh, bro. Michael, thank you so much, mate. Really do appreciate it. But yeah, Marks, it was good to have you back on, mate.
It was good.
Before I get your spotlight, are you still reliving dreams of Prague and DayZ Unite?
Genuinely, I haven't stopped thinking about it.
Same.
No, not even like just like that. Like Prague was great itself, the city, and then going to the events, like it was just. It should be something that maybe not like an event, but like there's no reason why like people or even schools, for example, shouldn't have like a weekend where you go out and learn how to make a fire, cook over a fire, and learn just survival skills. You'll never probably ever use them, but it's always just good to get out. Like it was great being out there with everybody that was there, and
I'm not going to promise anything, but I am trying to see if there's any way we can relive that experience, but open it up to everyone. I've been reaching out to some people. That's about all I will say. And optimally, I would like to do it at that same venue because it was just so fucking surreal, wasn't it, Marks?
Yeah, it was.
But that was my only thing was I would have loved there to have been more people Helkiana for obvious reasons. It was great to have been chosen, but at the same time you feel guilty because others weren't able to experience the event as well. And if we can redo it and hopefully do it bigger and better, man, could you imagine 100, 500 DayZ fans at that venue, Marks?
Jeez.
I mean, it probably wouldn't fit. That's a bit much.
Oh, no, it would fit. It would fit. It's a big
that
venue.
Many people.
Well, that many people organized would be a logistical issue, but
mate,
even
companies that do
50
that sort of
or
stuff.
100 or something, anything would be great. I'll just bring my own tent next time and not have to sleep in those probably asbestos-filled barracks. But
I'll read this out to you guys. This is the draft template of what I've been sending out to people. Hello, I recently attended a survival camp organised by Bohemia Interactive to promote a new expansion for the game DayZ Standalone in Prague. The event entailed us staying at an apocalyptic-themed abandoned military camp located about 60 minutes outside of Prague. The event entailed some very basic survival training and was a fun event for those chosen to attend, just a very small group of 10 folks. I would like to look into possibly holding a large convention for fans of this game, possibly at the same location. The event would entail some post-apocalyptic style activities for fun, such as fire starting, water purification, maybe some airsoft battles if allowed, and some actual live fire shooting of guns related to the DayZ Standalone game at an alternative location. I would also like to arrange for tours to be available for those interested to visit the many iconic landmarks in the Czech Republic that are associated with the game DayZ Standalone. There are many different actual real-life locations that have been turned into iconic locations in the game, from Bavary Castle, which you can find in Chernihiv and Livonia maps. Real location is near Brno in the Czech Republic. Chizzy military base in DayZ game was inspired by a real anti-aircraft base located in Brody above Debris near Prague. It was an anti-aircraft missile area with an installation of system S-200 Vega with 3 guidance radars and 3 anti-aircraft missile launchers. The DayZ fire station was inspired by the real-life building of volunteer fire department from Minsk, Brody, Czech Republic. Building is about 45 years old. BI Studio is located 3 kilometres away from the fire station. The bus stop, the corner pub, these are just some of the locations that are within the Czech Republic, so you wouldn't have to leave that country. There are a number of other locations in Prague that would be of interest as well. I wish to have this done as packages that interested people could purchase. These would range from hotel rooms, cheap and luxury, depending on people's budgets, with transport to the base each morning to join in the activities there. And those choosing to live more immersively at the base would require tents, etc. But they can also purchase guided tours on buses that visit these iconic locations. We would arrange local DayZ players knowledgeable on these locations to conduct these tours. That's a wish list. But I know there are several people in the community who could potentially do that. The shooting package would also need to be an additional purchase, with various packages needing to be offered, from deluxe all guns associated with DayZ to just a few of the more iconic ones. The base location is the challenge. We would need to liaise with the many groups that run the facility, arrange extra toilet, showers, cooking facilities, perhaps packages ranging from survival-style meals to food trucks that people could purchase meals from, and even how to cook camp food. Good old meat, sausage on a stick, Marks.
Thought we lived off for 2 days.
Yeah. A local survivalist who could teach people about living off the land and preparing meals safely could also be interesting. I don't know if you were there when I asked Toprek, are there any mushrooms from the game around here? And he goes, yeah, there probably would be, but probably just not in this immediate vicinity because of the nature of what it is. But I understand this is quite an unusual request, but we have plenty of time to discuss, if possible, and options on how best to do this. I hope to have a draft plan I could take to Bohemia Interactive and get their official support for this to occur, even as just a one-off event. I would also want to have a facility there, such as a stage for speakers to do presentations, meet and greets, autographs, etc. Looking forward to hearing from you if this is something possible. I think I've got a rough base idea. Whether anything happens, probably not. I'm not going to get my hopes up, but I've always lived by the philosophy, Helkiana. If you don't ask, you'll never know. The worst they're going to say is no.
Yep, exactly.
And the first reply I got from it was no, from an agency that I contacted, because as you said, Marks, logistically it would be a headache. So that's why you'd probably need to liaise with an actual event planner, sort of thing to make sure, because we saw how crazy it was just for us there. But imagine 500 people there, all at the same time. And that idea, Helkiana, of there's going to be some people who want to do the cock and ball torture experience. I'd probably try to call it that name if I could for the survival package. But then there's going to be others who don't want to be filthy and dirty for 3 days or however long I went for. Who want to be able to.
Like, I'm so glad we weren't put in a hotel. It was so nice just to be sleeping rough. And
really?
It was
really?
great.
You're going to bring that up?
I love
Mr. Fucking Hotel Boy while I'm in fucking Chateau Bohemia?
Well, okay, the first 2 days that you were there, yes. But like, we've just been out when we were at the event, I loved it. I couldn't complain.
Mate, it wasn't that bad, Michael. It wasn't that bad, to be honest. I think the people who had it worst out there were the ones who chose the tents to sleep in, Marks. Those bedrooms were a bit fusty, a bit dicey, but at the same time, it was a mattress. We had our sleeping bags. Sleeping bags that barely fit my fat ass, but
yeah, I had to use mine as an actual blanket. It was more comfortable, but it worked. It was great. I mean, people even slept in tents. I would if somebody wanted my room, I would have taken a tent instead. I don't mind. I've slept in many of a tent.
Yep.
Yeah, no, it was great. Just I'm so glad it wasn't in I remember the first spawn saying they could have put us in a 5-star retreat somewhere if they really wanted to, but it was nice. It was better. I think there was more camaraderie and
exactly.
stuff like that being out there. So
what do they say, Helkiana? Hardship creates unity or something along those lines.
I guess so.
I'm not sure.
You haven't heard that one before, but yeah.
I've never heard of that one.
No, it's when you go through they talk about the movie Saving Private Ryan, all of the actors bar what's his name, Matt Damon, had to do a survival camp together to create a sense of unity, a bond, but they deliberately left Matt Damon out of it so that there was that exclusion, so that the actors didn't have to act that much in the way of resentment against him when they finally did meet his character in the movie. And hardship, brings people together. But look, watch this space. I'm not going to update too much. I just wanted to let you guys know, because I've had a few people, I heard people saying that they wish they could have gone. And we wish you could have gone as well, but it wasn't to be. And that's not to say that we can't try to make it happen as something that those that can.
Maybe if they ever do a DayZ Con, they can do it there. The way you're on about DayZ Con.
That's kind of what I'm trying to force. I keep on talking about a DayZ Con, even if it was only a one-off. But I think it'd be an amazing location because it was just so fun and so surreal. And then to tie it in with the other activities that we would have loved to have done, go and see Green Mountain and Squirrel Castle Viveri Castle was fucking awesome. I've got the photos if anyone wants to see them, but the worst they're going to say is no. And the second worst is we don't have BI support, but we just do an unofficial Survivor camp or whatever, and get a bunch of fans together to. You all right there, Helkiana, or did you fall off your chair?
Yeah. No, my phone slipped off.
We can't tell with your avatar, mate. It just looks like you're sitting there perfectly.
I think a lot of people, I know Scotty is a member of that place, isn't he? And I think there were some other people. I think Dan, one of the Arma devs, wasn't he a member of it as well or something like that? A lot of them are there. So a lot of the devs would probably be up for something like that. It's just watch this space, folks. Watch this space.
I'm trying to make things happen with my limited amount of reach. But I live at the beach in a tourist area. Can we have DayZ Con here? Deep sea fishing, pretty beaches, good weather, and I would buy all the drinks. I love it. Helkiana, individual spotlight, mate. What would you like to shout out?
So I mean, I wanted to discuss this a little bit. Is
Yeah.
Erno's new server, DayZ
Oh, I was going to
Hideout?
mention that. Yeah.
He's so
Um,
underrated, Erno.
So, can I share my screen? Because I know usually when
Yeah.
you share your screen,
Yeah, it dies.
like, it just dies. So I'll try. I don't know how it works. Is that okay? Let me.
Was that Northeast Airfield?
Yeah, they've been doing some map changes. It looks like.
It's beautiful.
I will say one thing with Erno, and I did say this to him in a DM. He always smashes trailers that he does for servers. He always fantastic at making trailers.
Modular base building. That's very Rust inspired. They don't look bad though. I've got to give
they're
it
great
that.
quality, very high
Yeah.
quality.
Look at those shutters on the windows.
So
Hey, look at whoa! Go back a bit.
There's their crafting system.
Yeah.
So this is their crafting system. So a lot of the server is very well, not inspired. It's copied from Tarkov.
Yeah.
So this is how the Tarkov UI looks like in the hideout crafting, exactly like this. And like you can even see the items. This is a drill that is in Tarkov, the motherboard. So I'm gonna make a comment about that at the end. They have like some quest system, which is kind of
So
cool.
they have their own standalone PC, like computer, and you log into that and you can do different quests. I think it's very Tarkov based as well, as far as I know. It's quite interesting.
People are saying it's the same font as Tarkov as well.
Oh, it's direct copy and paste. Yeah.
So yeah, even here, like
That's all Tarkov.
That's a bit risky.
UI.
That's bordering IP issues.
These items, the survival kit, the Smith card, golden star, these are all Tarkov, and you see here at the top this that says secure case,
Tarkov.
which Tarkov has, where you basically don't lose what's in there. The sounds.
I've actually got no audio.
Yes.
Is there no audio?
So you can have broken arms in this, and when you ADS, your gun shakes when you have a broken arm and stuff. So there's a lot of so it does like make a difference basically.
I mean, this.
Bruce has just said in chat, if they want Tarkov 1, I'll play Tarkov. Well, this is Tarkov on a massive scale.
I did say the same thing. Is like there's quite a few DayZ players out there that love to just say Tarkov is the best game ever, but don't play Tarkov. They play DayZ more than Tarkov, and it's like, well, why not just go play Tarkov if you find it better? But the bandaging while moving is fantastic.
This server sucks.
Oh, there he is.
I've got to get you on, mate. Whether it be a spotlight or on an episode of the podcast, mate, I would love to sit down and chat with you. Because like Mark said, love it or hate it, mate, you give it your fucking all. Tarkov without sitting most of your time in the menu. Well, there's another good difference between this and Tarkov.
Well, I like that part of Tarkov. So this part I don't really know exactly how this works with the matchmaking system. Like,
so I can tell you if you want. So there's an alarm that goes off in the server, and that means bunkers opening. So there's 15 different spots around the map you can go. You have to find a key card first around the map. It spawns in wherever. If you find that, keep it on you. If you hear an alarm go, you run to one of the extraction points, you go in there, and it puts you in a waiting room for 800 seconds. And after that, then it closes. And then it loads you into labs. Then you have, I think, about half an hour to run around in labs and get out. And if you don't get out before the timer runs down, you die. And as far as I know, it's actually labs from Tarkov in DayZ. It's quite interesting.
And look, I get what where was it? There was a comment there. Bruce, I understand, but this just ruins what DayZ is. It does maybe for you, but for other people, and this is, you know, they get a lot of shit at times. You know, we shit on them a bit at the beginning of this for the issues and that. But one of the beautiful things about DayZ is it's kind of a blank canvas that people can reimagine however they want. And you know, I don't know whether I would enjoy this. I'm definitely intrigued by it. And it's, you know, it's got some of the things I was just talking about. Some, you know, POIs that are genuinely interesting. But it's great that you can do this with DayZ, isn't it, Helkiana? Regardless of whether you like it or not.
Yeah, obviously, you know, you don't have to play these servers if you don't like them. There's plenty of vanilla-like servers out there. It is crazy how much work some people put into making something a bit more unique. But like for me with this, Ernar, I know you're here and I'm just gonna say it. I think taking the stuff directly from Tarkov is not okay. Like the items and the sounds. Like you can make similar items. There's plenty of 3D models you can find online that are very similar to those ones, but they're not exact item taken from Tarkov. And you can get inspired by like Tarkov, but not make it 100%.
A bit like everyone those days Fallout server. I said the same about that. It's risky.
It's yeah. Obviously, you know, Russians, they have a different type of attitude towards this kind of stuff, I guess. But like I think if you're making a server ethically, you know, you should think about how would you feel if I would went and install everything from you. Now, all your ideas, everything. You know, I'm not saying, oh, I'm defending Battle State, you know, because like they have their plenty of issues, and I have my beef with Battle State Games, the studio itself. But yeah, that's my only complaint about this. A lot of other stuff is really cool. You know, the map locations edited, and you know, having a crafting system. Yeah, definitely. And like the quest system, definitely.
Yeah. The one thing I do have to ask: does it come with a $250 DLC, Erno?
I paid 300, so I think he scammed me. Not sure.
Look, at the end of the day, whether you love it or not, I just I will always love that DayZ has, you know, as we make fun of the spaghetti code and all the rest of it, but the fact that it can allow people to recreate other games in it, like someone said, it's borderline like a Gary's mod in some aspects. It's amazing for me to see that. About the EFT assets, it's a convo too long to discuss over a chat. Well, let's get you on for an episode, Erno, and we could talk about it. I would love to, mate. I genuinely have been a big fan of yours for a long time, from those custom houses you had back in the day. I see a lot. That makes me happy with what you do, mate. Because regardless of anything, a lot of time and effort has gone into this. I can see that straight from, even with my pleb understanding of it. And I do agree, though, with what you said, Helkiana. You've got to be careful when you're reusing assets, particularly from another big game entity. You know, Dave's running the same sort of thing with his Fallout server.
Yeah,
I play. Sorry, go on, Elka.
Sorry, yeah, I just wanted to say, you know, you can definitely get inspired and make the same kind of gameplay and just don't use the same the same assets kind of thing, or like even this UI. It's just like this is 100% copy from Tarkov. I think you can just make a lookalike. It's the same like Arena Breakout Infinite. It came out in recently in the beta, and is like a pretty blatant copy of Tarkov, but made in a casual way. So I don't know if they stole anything, but the plagiarism is there, and it just doesn't look good, in my opinion. Well, you made it yourself, but like, I mean, I can show you the Tarkov UI. It's the same UI for the health. Like, I'm not sure how if I can find a picture.
I put a few hours into the server so far. I don't know how many exactly. It's fun. He's definitely got some unique stuff. Like the base building is pretty cool. It's fairly easy to do as well, as far as I know. The armored cars I love. Like he's working on the Humvee. You're going to be able to armor the Humvee even more than it already is, and stuff like that. And that's cool. I'm going to try and make a video on the vehicles soon. But yeah, that was the one thing as well when like we first saw it and they were like showcasing it, was I know it's not the same, but there's a lot of Tarkov inspired stuff, which I was kind of like, it's like, I think the Tarkov DayZ servers are a little bit kind of done and dusted at this rate, in my opinion. But yeah, it's cool. He does have some cool stuff there, but the Tarkov stuff,
Yep.
I'm not the biggest fan of, but everything else is great, like the cars and guns.
There'll be people who are. There'll be people who are. So, yeah, end of the day, you make a server, if people like it, they'll come play it. And, Uno's got a good track record of releasing some great communities in the past. So watch your space, folks. Uno, I sent you a DM on Twitter, mate. So get back to us. We've got the 24th of June is free. So, yeah. No, I think, yeah. What an amazing blank canvas. Marks, what would you like to shout out, buddy?
Right, so one of them was going to be DayZ Hideout, and the other one's actually another server. It's called Days Before. It's made by Clement Dab. It was called Dab Sandbox, but he changed the name of it.
I've been meaning
the MMORPG sandbox server.
Yeah, so it's a DayZ server like usual. This one though has some unique features. So it's got a lot of custom animated guns. So it's got the model 1887 shotguns. So you reload and it spins the guns as you do it. And it's got custom animations for RPGs. There's SMGs. I think it has some other stuff as well. But I think the biggest unique thing of it is it has abilities. So when you get your character, you can have abilities in the bottom of your player menu thing. Actually, will I just show this? Would this be easier to explain? I can do it real quick. Sorry, hang on. Holy shit, I cannot type to save my life. I hope the server is actually working. But he has abilities, so you can you start off with standard vanilla stamina, but if you keep upgrading the stamina ability, you will eventually get to have full stamina, or like no stamina at all, so you can just kind of keep running as much as you want. You can do one for weapon handling and aiming, so the more you upgrade this ability, the less recoil you'll have on a gun. There's one for mantling, so you'll be able to mantle faster, run around faster. It's pretty cool, and you earn your points by basically killing Zeds and picking up loot. And if you kill a player that has points, you get 100 points plus however many points they had collected, and so you earn points in different ways and such. And it's definitely a unique twist. I won't be able to show it off times down too many mods, but it's interesting what he's doing. He's doing a load more stuff as well. That's barely even covering the
And again,
the
this is a
surface, but-
server where there was some people saying they didn't like the Tarkov version of DayZ. I've said it so many times that one of the things I love about DayZ is that it's a level playing field. Bar ping and your actual performance, maybe the specs of your computer, everyone's got the same. But some people, they do like the aspect of the longer you stay alive, the better you get at things that are quite important skills, such as your speed of running and things like that. So again, it just proves what a blank canvas DayZ is, that Dab's been able to, and he's not the only one. They've got it on the Siberia mod, I think it is, that I've seen some servers. So there's a lot of people playing with the soft skills and the hard skills side of things.
Yeah, there is there's a lot of them. And obviously, the longer you stay alive, the more of these skills you're going to have and stuff. And like, I was playing on the server and it was empty, so I was able to stay along for a lifetime. But like, I had full stamina at one stage. I had my gun abilities maxed out, so like I was shooting an AUG full auto, and I pretty much didn't move at all. And like, there's so many more you can do. Like there's health and everything like this as well. And it's a unique twist. It's hard to explain over chat. I'd actually have to show you, but it's pretty cool. It was something I hadn't seen before. And I like that people are still able to come into DayZ and make unique things even after such a long time.
It's kind of limited, like Slav saying in chat there, you should be able to read books to gain skills as this, plumbing should be a thing, that sort of stuff. But again, I think that's kind of a bit of the limitation of the crafting system. Outside of some of the core skills, there's not a lot that you can really get better at that is tangible in the game. Like, better mechanic. Well, the cars really don't. Maybe you could repair them to pristine as you get better over time. I don't know, but it is kind of limited in that aspect unless you do some hardcore modding. Like how big of a deal is doing these sort of mods, Helkiana, that Dab and others have been playing with?
They're very complicated. I've been wanting to make some sort of like a skill system, but like plugging into everything in DayZ, and then like limiting from where you can go at the beginning, and then like as you gain the skills, you can get better at it. It can be very complicated because there's just like a lot of small moving parts that you need to figure out. And like with Dab's systems, they only really work in that kind of closed environment, so he wouldn't really be able to like fully release it for the public, because I know a lot of people ask me like, oh, you made this thing for your server, can you like sell it to me or like share it with everyone? I'm like, a lot of the times when I make these, I make them in a closed environment because I know how to handle it if something goes wrong, and like I don't have to make it compatible with all the mods out there as well, because I know I'm only running these mods on this server, so it's a little bit easier to handle the mods that way, compared to making it for the public.
Yeah, and like Dab's one seems like it would be quite difficult to balance as well. So like it'll be balanced obviously specifically to how he wants it on the server, but if you were to make it public, it could be a bit of a nightmare. Yeah,
exactly.
But yeah, it's cool. Check it out if any of you have time. It's certainly interesting.
Yeah, I need to play on it. I said I was gonna do it, but I've been busy with my summer update for my server, which I'm probably gonna release those survival mechanics for the public as well. Nice. So like the wells won't have, not all wells will have water, and the ones that do have water, they have limited amount, and it changes at restart. It really makes people think how they go about their survival in the scorched summer.
We do need more hot maps. We've got plenty of cold ones, but the hot ones where, if you go running around in the full field jacket and all the rest of it. I still remember way back in the early days of DayZ, there was that patch where pretty much everyone spent half the game just sitting in ponds trying to cool their player down. Especially the guys running around in ghillie suits. But it was an interesting time because it was a new, everyone's bloody overheating, and dehydrating very quick. So it was interesting. It was a nice little mechanic, but yeah. I just confirmed with Erno, we're going to have him on 24th of June. So
Nice.
it gives you some time to come up with any particular questions you'd like to ask Helkiana and anyone else. But yeah, that's I'm looking forward to that one. I've wanted to get Erno for quite some time. He's been a very elusive man. I'm finally going to get my fingers into him. But yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's good. I won't be here for the 30th or like 1st of July for you. So it's good that it's the week before.
Sorry, 24th of June, we've got him.
June. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. It's good that we have him then because I won't be available the next week after.
Awesome. Next week's guest is the one that only Mr. Flying Harlequin, a smaller YouTuber, but one that caught my interest. So I'll share some links in the Discord for people to check him out. But yeah, good episode. I think we covered a lot of ground. Marks, thank you for stepping in at the last minute as Archie's lookalike. That was still one of the funniest moments in the podcast when he pointed that out.
The prettier lookalike I might add, but no, it was good to come on. I was actually kind of wanting to talk about the Zeds and stuff, so it was nice to be able to chat. About them.
And there's Flying Harlequin in chat there. So you'll all get to meet him next week. Very interesting. Got almost like a bit of a Joker-esque thumbnail on the YouTube. But yeah, it'll be a good one. I think Cobra's back next week as well. Back from he should be nicely tanned as well, Helkiana. Been sharing those photos with us. Yeah.
He's British,
he's going to look like a lobster. He's going to look like a fucking lobster, isn't he?
Yeah.
That's one thing I have noticed. The Scandinavians generally seem to tan better than the Poms. The Poms just come out, especially the Scots, looking like a fucking little red smarty.
Yep.
I hope he's got really bad sunburn from like falling asleep wearing sunglasses or something. And he has to come on the show looking bizarre. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much. Michael, thank you so much for that $20 holler, buddy. Really do appreciate it. Any support goes back into the show. But yeah, all the best, everyone. And we will see you next week. Not the same time. The same time, but not the same day because I slept in. For Flying Harlequin on the DayZ Podcast. Ciao for now.
See you later.
Bye.